In this channel we have always stood out for always mentioning the positive in everything that happens in the Power Rangers franchise, but like everything in life, where there are good things, there are also bad things. It is impossible that in 30 years of history everything could be perfect, and although we can recognize the great effort made by the producers of the series, we must always admit when things are not good. This does not mean that everything we mention in this video is conclusive, since we all have different tastes, and I always say it in the videos. In this video we are going to mention which were the worst seasons of Power Rangers, but this does not mean that they are a total failure, they are just not the best. Leave in the comments which have been for you the worst seasons that you have seen of the Power Rangers. Let's start with Ninja Steel, one of the worst seasons in history, with a terrible script despite having good actors. It should be noted that the theme of the ninjas had already been used and it was a very worn out idea, so it was lousy that they made the decision to adapt this theme. The problems that the Rangers have in each episode are the center of each story, and the solution to that problem is the one that must be incredible to make a spectacular episode. The problem this season had is that the solutions to these problems were very silly, and even though Power Rangers is not meant for adults, it was still a terrible script. On top of all this season had Victor and Monty, two of the worst characters in the entire franchise, although personally, for me, I still think Jayborg is worse. Leave in the comments if you want a list of the worst Power Rangers characters and tell me which one is the worst for you. The next season is Turbo, and even though this series has some good things, the bad things are too many and almost killed the franchise. Even Saban has said that Power Rangers in Space are the ones that saved the franchise, and In Space was released after the failure of Turbo. You obviously can't save something that isn't in danger, so, if the In Space series were the saviors of the franchise, it's because the previous series almost destroyed the franchise. We can start with the theme of the series, and that is that many do not understand that the theme of the season is one of the most important things in the series. It may not be the most important thing, but it's the beginning of everything, and if you start with the wrong step, then it's going to be harder to straighten the path later. Turbo had the theme of the cars, and the problem is that when fans watch a show, they don't want to see something that is already in the world, they want to see something out of this world, something that is not commonly seen. Maybe they were different cars with powers and that could be transformed, but they were still cars, and that's something you see every day in the streets. Another thing we can point out is that there were already Rangers that were in several seasons, and this causes you to get bored of the characters that you have seen for so many years. It doesn't matter if those characters were good, the important thing is that fans got tired of seeing them again. Let's talk now about Mystic Force. One of the worst issues in the history of Power Rangers, and Disney came to destroy the franchise with its magic. I want to highlight two things that I liked about this season. To me, the costumes seem to be the best, and the Rangers Solaris Knight, White Mystic, and Wolf Warrior are also characters that I liked. Unfortunately, these characters were thrown away as their costumes don't match the season, their powers don't match the season either, and having 3 special Rangers in one season is a waste. Everything else about this series was terrible, including the character development and the script. When a character gets to become a Ranger, They are always grateful and surprised, as being a ranger has always been a mystery and an honor for anyone. However, we have a pink ranger who complained because she didn't like that pink was her color. We also have a red ranger who didn't believe in magic, rather silly since the theme of the season is magic. The next season is Megaforce, and here we can include Super Megaforce since they are the same characters and basically the same story. It's unfortunate that one of the best costumes in the whole franchise is wasted in one of the worst stories. I know there are many fans who don't like these costumes, but in my opinion, I do like them as they are different and have good color combinations and designs. The important thing is that this season could not develop their characters well, and many fans have been complaining that this story seems a copy of Mighty Morphin in certain things, like for example the Blue Ranger. Another thing they did wrong in this season is that they used many scenes from the Japanese series, and what the production said is that they did it this way to reduce costs. We all know that the beginning of the failure of any series or movie is when they want to reduce costs, because that causes the poor quality of the final product. Finally, we must say that they were talking about the legendary battle in many episodes, and in the end, it only lasted several minutes. This was a serious mistake. The only thing we can save from this season is the Yellow Ranger. All of these series are terrible, but the worst of all time is still Operation Overdrive. You can search all over the internet on all the lists of worst seasons, and Operation Overdrive is always going to show up on every list. Maybe the other seasons aren't on some list, but this season is always going to be there. This is no coincidence, and this season started out being terrible from its name, its logo, its costumes, and all the visuals. The saddest thing of all is that this is the second season on this list where they are celebrating an anniversary, as this season celebrated their 15th anniversary. This season has the worst thing that any entertainment production can have, and that is that it doesn't have exactly that, entertainment. Operation Overdrive is listed as the most boring season of all according to many fans, and it is the most mentioned in all the lists. Each of us can have different tastes, and if any of your favorite seasons don't appear in this video, you can write them in the comments. What makes each season special is a good script, good acting, and keeping us excited in every episode. Besides that, it also depends on how connected we are to the season, because if you watched a season when you were a kid, you'll be so connected to that season that you'll always think it's the best for you. We should also evaluate the suits, transformations, powers, and the theme. Number 7. We'll start with Power Rangers SPD Season 13, aired in 2005. This series has a police style in which they catch the enemies as if they were arresting them, just like normal police. They also use phrases, logos, and Zords, very police style. The costumes are very well designed, including the helmets that are always important in all Power Rangers costumes. The transformation has very good presentation, and their characters are well built. The script of this series started out very serious, plus they included the first Omega Ranger of the franchise. One of the things I like most about this season is Commander Kruger, who is a high-level mentor, and best thing of all is that he is also a Power Ranger. Number 6. The next season is Power Rangers Zeo, season number 4, aired in 1996. What I like most about this season is that it is still somewhat connected to Mighty Morphin, as it has several characters that made the jump to Zeo. The Zeo crystals were so powerful that they have been commented on throughout the history of the comics. Obviously, as we expected, the acting was still of the same quality as they are almost all the same actors as the past seasons. The villains of this season started off strong as the Machine Empire managed to make Rita and Zed leave Earth, which makes us feel that they are more powerful and darker. One of the best things Power Rangers Zeo had was the Gold Ranger and the arrival of Jason to the series. The Gold Ranger's powers have been so iconic that after many years fans still love this character and his transformation. Number 5. Another favorite season is Power Rangers in Space from 1998. This is season number 6, and it was the last of the Zordon era, giving a culmination to one of the best sagas in history. We all know that Zordon will always be one of the most iconic characters in the entire franchise, and this season was his last appearance due to his passing. This alone makes the season memorable, but this is not the only thing that makes this season one of the best. The villains of this saga make the story much more entertaining, and besides that, we have one of the best villains in all of history, Astronema, who later ends up being part of the Power Rangers and sister of the Red Ranger. All this makes the plot iconic, and its characters will be remembered forever. Finally, we must mention its Red Ranger, which has been one of the best Red Rangers of the whole franchise. Number 4. In 2001, it was presented what would be one of the best seasons of Power Rangers that would mark the history of the franchise. Power Rangers Time Force, being season number 9, which had a very good idea from the beginning with time travel. In this season we are introduced to one of the best villains in history, Rancic, which is considered the best villain by many fans and one of the few villains who actually was never defeated. Time Force was able to make history because even though Wes is the central protagonist, it is the only series that has a female Pink Ranger as the leader. Another thing I like is that there are 2 Red Rangers. One is Wes, who is the main Red Ranger and is considered one of the best Rangers in the franchise. The other is Eric, the Quantum Ranger, who is the 6th Ranger this season and one of my favorite Red Rangers. Although the costume design is very simple, the helmets have been iconic since the visor is the same color as the costume and not black like the helmets in all the other seasons. Number 3. Power Rangers RPM was the 17th season released in 2009, and it quickly became a series that greatly changed the franchise. This season had a storyline aimed more at an older audience, and that was the biggest shift it made. Normally, Power Rangers has always been a show targeted toward children, but Power Rangers RPM made a huge difference with its darker and more serious story. Although the special effects in this season aren't my favorites, we have to say that the dark storyline and all the drama made it one of the best seasons in history. Number 2. Power Rangers Dino Fury was excellent, but I must say that Power Rangers Cosmic Fury was even better due to its different format. Cosmic Fury was the last season of Power Rangers and premiered in 2023, but despite being the last, it truly made an incredible change. All Power Rangers series follow the same format where each episode isn't highly connected to the previous one, but Power Rangers Cosmic Fury connected all the episodes, making it feel like a 10-episode movie. Another great thing was that it had very few Sentai scenes, the suits were original, and we had many surprises. The significant involvement of the Morphin Masters was excellent, having Lord Zed as the lead villain was also great, and Ollie turned out to be an excellent villain for the story. Another fantastic part was having Billy as both a mentor and a part of the team. Other great surprises were finally seeing the Dark Ranger transform and Mick becoming the Red Ranger. Number 1. I know many may not agree, but for me, the best season will always be the first, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is not just because of nostalgia, but because it's the series that started it all and made history forever. Mighty Morphin has many advantages in its favor. For example, being the first, it didn't feel repetitive compared to any other Power Rangers series. We can also say it had the best Red Ranger in history and the most recurring Ranger in the entire franchise, Tommy Oliver. Both Rangers have been pivotal to the franchise and are two icons after 30 years of history. Add to this their mentor Zordon, who was a revolutionary character for that time, with his face appearing inside a glass tube, which was innovative back then. Moreover, Zordon marked an era as the best mentor in the entire franchise and is remembered by all Power Rangers fans. Great superhero series are recognized by having great villains, and Rita Repulsa has been one of the best villains we've seen. She's a witch with all the right elements to be a great character, and you know it when fans love the villain rather than hate them. Write your list of the best seasons in the comments, as each of us will have a different perspective. Like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers seasons.